Hi and welcome to each and every one of you joining us for this pre-recorded show. It is recorded on Wednesday morning, early doors for the Thursday meeting, which takes place at the Vaal race course. And just looking at the first race, 12:35. Now, Alistair Cohen, very busy at the moment, jetting around. Alistair, how are you doing? And you keeping the ball rolling?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Sheldon. Very well. We've got to keep the ball rolling. Obviously, a very exciting time of the year with the World Sports Betting Cape Fillies Guineas coming up at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday, the first of the Grade 1s for the Cape Summer Festival of Racing. And all good. This card on Thursday is against my grain. I've not gone with an exotic. I've gone with a place all to come. Very, very open, big fields. A lot of trainers have clearly been waiting for the Vaal.
I could see that when I saw the place all to come. I said, well, you've obviously looked at the exotics, looked at all the other play, and hopefully that'll be the right play of the day. Right, race number 1. We won't spend too much time. If you just want to give us a brief selection or two.
Oh, geez, race 1. I think the high numbers here, Sheldon. I think the first thing we need to talk about is high number draws are likely to be favoured with how the Vaal straight is configured on this Thursday. So that might draw your attention to quite a few horses. Number 11, Explosive, is a very well-bred door traversing Getrix, but there are a few well-bred horses here. 13, Gimme Passion, 14, Hearts on Fire. But there has been a bit of early money for number 15, Spumante Dolce, out of the mare Espumante, the door traversing Getrix. Gavin Lorena takes her out for Mike de Kock. Mike de Kock hit the board on Tuesday at Turfentine with Heather's Boy, who remains unbeaten. So of the first-timers, all of them do make some sort of appeal, but the most appeal is for the money horse, number 15, Spumante Dolce. Of the race runners, number 17, Warning Sound, is a very well-bred daughter of Lancaster Bomber, out of Grade 1 winning mare Siren's Call, ran second on debut, but well beaten by Schwarzenada. That form line is very, very quiet until Schwarzenada came out and won on Tuesday. So there's a little bit more impetus behind that form. So number 17, Warning Sound, under a ramp and Pierce Stradum's also got to be respected. Lots of chances in the open. It's a tricky start to the bipod. I think you need horses to survive.
Right, moving on to race number 2, due off at 13:10. Now, Alistair, you were mentioning the draws. Number 4, which is ridden by Gavin Lorena from the Robbie Sage stable, and then you got also number 18. So they look to be generally in a good space and place.
Yeah, number 4, Pibe Doro, is my first leg of my place all to come here, Sheldon. The high number draw is going to help. Does come off a layoff, but obviously the form lines are strong. 5 lengths to Great Trick, 7 lengths to the champion 2-year-old Colt Gelding of last season, Proceed, who would absolutely dot up. Yes, fitness is to be taken on trust, and there are a few Rankies Fontaine yards that are a bit quiet. One of those is Robbie Sade, but we know that Robbie's not going to be down forever. He's generally trading at a plus 12% win strike rate every season, and I actually think the time off's going to do him a world of good. I've seen this horse quite a few times, and he's always looked a little bit playful, a little bit immature, and I think the time off's just going to bring him along, number 4, Pibe Doro. But again, in a big field where we've got 19 runners carded, we've got an opportunity of at least running into the top 4 for our place all to come. So that's where I'm going to hinge myself with number 4, Pibe Doro. Other horses that do come into the reckoning, I think that number 11, Chabelle's a lot better than his last run when falling. So Let's Play Poker, he was expected to go well. He was a little bit disappointing last time, was Chabelle, but I think he can run a better race. 14, Green Cherry, has every opportunity of stepping forward, bred to relish this extra distance, so that's going to be a chance from a high number draw. And then Satra Gaha, number 18, a son of One World, also drawn towards the outside. A very quiet form line as well. However, go watch that rerun again. He might have been going past a lot of beaten horses, but he was steaming past them late, and there's a lot of upward momentum for this half-brother to Russian Rock. But all in all, if pushed in a corner, I'd go with number 4, Pibe Doro, but it's not an open and shut case.
As we move on to race number 3, and race number 3 will be off at 13:45, all things being equal and everything going according to the script. And Alistair, just looking at the betting, number 3, Gloria Mundi, is 16-10. Number 1, City Lights, is 22-10. 5, Rising Russian, is 9-2. Regina Maria, number 6, is 5-1. So looking at the 3-year-olds taking on the 4-year-old City Lights, how do you read this race?
Oh, Sheldon, when Gloria Mundi's priced up towards the top of the board, you know that you're in a spot to bother and you know what type of field that you're dealing with when it comes to the first leg of the pick six. I've got an inkling that number 7, Empress Wu, probably represents a little bit of value here, Sheldon, the first leg of the pick six. On the 17th of October, I think that's the key piece of form to Ambitious Lady. It's not a very strong piece of form, but it's still probably key. Finished well in front of Plum Blossom, Beverly Baby, and Regina Maris. That's really half the field, and if you consider that there are a few horses that weren't in that form line that have shown absolutely nothing to date, I think the improvement factor behind number 7, Empress Wu, makes her the most interesting runner in the race. Querbus Rue and Denishoise, they team up. Querbus, of course, had a winner on Bedway Summer Cup Day with Fire and Flames at a big price. Not that Empress Wu is going to be a big price herself, but I think that she's probably the one to focus on. I would ordinarily like a horse like Rising Russian. Pilasande Poli takes her out, but her last run was very ordinary. She just made absolutely no impression, although Ancient Wisdom was a runaway winner on that occasion. She's worth a chance. So is number 3, Gloria Mundi. I'm afraid that when it comes to number 1, City Lights, I've washed my hands of her. 25 start maiden. She's running similar fields. She's not got the job done yet. She needs all the luck in the world the day that she wins her maiden. But she'll get her out one day, but I'm putting a few ahead of her this time again.
Next up will be race number 4. Once race number 4 is concluded, we'll be past the halfway stage, and then there'll be 4 races left. And Alistair, looking at the betting, number 5, Vava Vegas, 33-10. So it shows you the openness of the field with number 7, Caliburn. Number 1, Future Wolf is at 4-1. And then number 9, Black Lightning. And number 3, American Biscuit, shortened 5-1. Silent Trigger, 7-1. And what more can we say about Quid Pro Quo? Borum Buerters and them. Well, I mean, that's a horse in a lifetime.
She's a freak, isn't she? I mean, her win in the Betway Dingons, I don't think we'll see anything like that this season. I mean, I thought that Great Tricks would beat her. I thought that Quid Pro Quo with no prep, she might fall into a spot to bother, but not to be. What a filly. As you say, a horse of a lifetime. But going into the 4th race, I like the favourite here, number 5, Vaal Vegas, down a pound as well, which could be crucial. Wasn't disgraced behind Bacchus, and Bacchus pushed Heather's Boy all the way to the wire at his penultimate start. Craig Zaki takes her out, replacing Garish Summerbertia, who obviously takes a valuable 4 kilos off the back. The last time Craig rode Vaal Vegas, ran second behind After Hours, this for Yanni Borman, and on that run finished in front of Black Lightning, who I had a good look at. 17th of October, Vaal Vegas finished in front of Future Wolf and American Biscuit. American Biscuit's got a Future Wolf's got a slight advantage of the weights, but that was in an apprentice handicap. So I think Vaal Vegas just the most solid proposition when it comes to the first leg of jackpot number 1. In fact, for a horse that's been knocking on the door, that's a rated 75, I think he's probably the closest thing to a banker. He's the second leg of my place all to come, which, by the way, works out to 5-1. And nothing wrong with 5-1 your money with all these horses just needing to run into the top 3 or 4 in the first leg. So Vaal Vegas, for me, if you look past him, it probably becomes quite complicated. I'm not prepared to do that in this race. 7 Caliburn burnt me last time out. I thought he'd run a much better race behind Guy Alexander. Just the fact that he's not putting it all in worries me a little bit, although I think he's got a very solid top 3 chance. Vaal Vegas, for me, just the most solid proposition. He's been on the boil for a while, and he's not lost any of his gloss.
That'll take us on to race number 5, the second half of the program. And at the early timer, according, number 1, Confederate is scratched. And number 3, Bay Empire, I think, has just come out now, because 5 minutes ago I looked, it wasn't scratched. So I think number 3, Bay Empire, has just been scratched. And there's been a few changes in the betting market. So just keep up to date. I've just had a squiz online. Number 8, Peace Treaty, is now 18-10. Number 7, Sonic Jet, 5-2. 2, Key News is 4-1, and number 10, Khalida at 5-1. Those are the only runners in single figures, so it's a quartet of runners, and the rest in double figures. Alistair?
And the 2 scratchings help the cause a little bit, because I'm keen on number 8, Peace Treaty here, Sheldon. Draw number 1 was obviously the advantage, but now that we're down to 8 runners, he won't have to work as hard to get across into what's going to likely be the best going. By the way, it's going to be a piping hot day. It's going to be piping hot in Joburg for the next week. Number 8, Peace Treaty, 3rd run after a break. I think he's been well placed by Sean Terry. His lock caught the eye behind Passage of Power. Passage of Power's no mug. He also might have just needed his first couple of runs back. It certainly looks like the progress he's making, that was the case. And for me, he's just more upwardly mobile than anyone else in this race. I think the booking of Gavin Loreen is also key for the son of Active War. A very well-bred horse is Peace Treaty. He's related to a few nice horses. One trained by Dennis Dreyer, who wasn't all that bad. He was actually very good. But with all that said, just the fact that he looks like he's coming along with the two scratchings that are in the race, I mean, I do have respect for number 2, Key News. I think he can run well enough, but I think number 8, Peace Treaty's just been found the right opportunity. Third leg of my place, all to come. I like him a lot. 2 scratchings help us cause 2.
That'll take us on to race number 6, and just having a look, there is an early casualty. Number 7, Captain of the Green, takes no part. So take out number 7. And then just looking at the betting, once again, 33-10 the field with number 2, Pomodora's Jet. Craig Zaki and Brett Crawford teaming up. And this is a 6-year-old. Number 5, the Africa House, is from 7-2, has gone 5-1. And then number 9 is at 11-2. And then it's after that 6-1 and better the rest. Alistair, are you in the camp of number 2, Pomodora's Jet, or number 5, the Africa House, or is there something else you're looking at?
Sheldon, this is a field race for me. Hopefully the previous 2 races we've been able to narrow it down. Well, PA, you obviously don't need to go field, but jackpot and pick 6, as many as you can afford. Pomodora's Jet worries me up the inside. High number draw, I'd be very keen on him, but inside draw makes me worry a little bit. This is, when I say an official prep run for the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage, the Grand Heritage is run, just under 3 weeks after this, over the same distance, 1475, sort of a nothing distance, but all good and fun when it comes to a fun race like the Grand Heritage. So a lot of these horses will be looking to become serious contenders for that race on the 21st of December. The horse that I'm most keen on here is number 3, Wise Act. Sheldon, Trent Mayhew only claims 1.5 these days. Was just nabbed late. Was a brave performance from Wise Act last time when Musical Score just came to run him down. Out of that field, Schwarzenegger came out and won. So there we go. I think that all points to number 3, Wise Act. Was a definite pleasing turn into form for the son of Active War last time. Second race in a row that I'm going for a progeny of Active War. So I think number 3, Wise Act, he might just not have the legs to go the extra 75 metres, but I think he'll run into the first 3 regardless. The outside draw is going to help him, and maybe just with a little bit more restraint. Not often you see a horse 6 lengths clear at the 400 and just get nabbed. With just a touch more restraint, he could end up being the horse they all need to beat. 1, Argo Alley brings in a very key piece of form in the start on the 10th of October when finishing in front of Pomodora's Jet. Jury's up, play and open highway. That makes him a chance. Raymond Danielson up for St. John Gray. He's definitely alive. 5, the Africa House. 6, Jury's out. And perhaps the most interesting horse in the race, because it's either going to be duck or no dinner, number 9, Radicha, the horse that grew an extra leg at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. First run in town. Bar and Booters can get horses to improve. So number 9, Radicha, another horse not to let run loose. Very, very complex 6th race.
Moving on to races 7 and 8, so that'll be the last double of the afternoon. And I know race number 8, you like a little bit of John Wick as your place all to come, so perhaps you'll take John Wick in the last race to place. And then race number 7, they're betting 5-2 joint favourites, number 2, Chocolate Soldier, and number 4, Raven Black. Number 3, Karangatang, who I give a massive chance to, is at 7-2. And then the Candice Dawson stable sends out Address the Nation with Philisana Mqoli, 53.5 kilograms on the back. How do you read race number 7? And if the guys want to play something into John Wick to place in the last race?
I like your suggestion of Karangatang, actually, Sheldon. I like the way that he's turned it around of late. He was a very good forward 2-year-old, and the handicapper may have just done a bit too much damage having him up at 110, but now down to the mid-90s. He seems to have found a bit of life. Craig Zaki takes the right here for Johan Janse van Vuren. Johan doesn't take many horses to the Vaal these days, and he could end up being the right one. I mean, he is, after all, the highest achiever in the race, having earned 580,000 Rand and being a 4-time winner from 21 starts and having a little bit of black type to go for him. So I think that he's very much alive here, and he could end up being the horse that's most likely to run into the top 3 out of all these horses. He's got less vulnerabilities than anyone else. Number 2, Chocolate Soldier's very, very quick, but that speed can also be a disadvantage on a track that's not going to be running as quickly as what it was a few months ago, but he's a good horse all the same, number 2, Chocolate Soldier. 4, Raven Black. probably the best horse in the race, but he's got all sorts of problems. Sparing your race, just 5 starts for this 5-year-old. First run, 406 days. That tells you everything that you need to know. He obviously went wrong again after his last start, but here he is back again for Brett Crawford. So if he doesn't need the run, he's likely to need the run, but if he doesn't need it too badly, he could give some side. But for me, number 3, Orangutan, just probably the most likely horse to run into the top 3 in race number 7. A little bit of luck, he can definitely win it.
So there we go, maybe a little bit of each way proposition. Orangutan onto a place bet, John Wick in the last race. And in race number 8, number 1 is John Wick. He is the 4-year-old son of Pomodoro, and we all know the movie John Wick. So is John Wick going to come out all guns blazing? Because I see his unbeaten course and distance.
Well, that's exactly why I've made him the final leg of my place all to come here, Sheldon. 2 from 2 over the course and distance. He was given a ride and a half by Pierre Stratham last time, but I like it when Pierre gives these horses those types of rides, because there's a lot of belief then between horse and jockey. He's back from 56 days off, so he may have just been given a little bit of a freshen up back at home. And I think the fact that a stable companion is coming back from a longer layoff, and also might be a little bit of a question mark over 1,000 meters. I know he's done well over the trip, but I think he's still looking for a little bit further. It is number 4, Blaze Away. I think that John Wick may have just found the right place. Again, a £3 penalty for his last win. His consistency is something to applaud. And he just loves the Vaal. So, yeah, big chance, number 1, with John Wick in the last race. If he doesn't win, I think he'll run into the top 3. It's as simple as that. And that's the final leg of my place all to come.
Well, thanks very much, Alistair. As is the norm, thanks very much for giving us all your input race by race. We're now going to bring up your suggested bet. And as we see, it is not a place accumulator or a buy pot. This time we've gone with an all-to-come place bet.
Yep, and that'll be kicking off in race number 2 at 10 past 1. So the first start's at 25 to 1, but the first leg of the place all to come, race 2, number 4, P-Bay Doro, by race 4, number 5, Vaal Vegas. Then on to the 5th race, where I've gone with number 8, Peace Treaty, and the 8th and last race, number 1, John Wick. Luck Mention works out to around 5 to 1. I just think the exotics are a little bit too dicey to my eye on this Thursday card. But as for Saturday, stand by for the Saturday show. I like some horses at Turpentine on the Twilight meeting.
Well, that's what I like to hear. We can start gearing up for the weekend meeting and get ready for some action there. Alistair's got a card that he really likes at this point in time. And then just looking at that all to come, hopefully all the horses come through. And going into the last leg, hopefully like John Wick, they never miss their target. Thanks very much, Alistair, and have a wonderful day's racing.
Cheers, Sheldon. We'll chat soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much to Alistair Cohen joining us on the line. We've gone through the 8-race program at the Vaal, and he's giving you a suggested all-to-come place bet, and let's hope it comes through.